Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What kind of slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump just continues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Toadstool Sports. This is the Saturday, February 28th edition. Thanks for people who hung out for the basketball show, college basketball that I just did for whatever, 2+ hours. Go check that out before the games kick off. I'll reiterate my college basketball plays at the end of this show. We got 5 of them. I'm going to add 1 NHL play, 1 NBA play here. That's what we're going to talk about here. JC, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. JC is everywhere. We went 1-2 on the show last night. I'm not happy about that. George Washington, everything that I said was an outlier in the first matchup happened again. They couldn't hit any of their free throws. They won the rebounding battle again, I believe. It still lost the game. Just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what to tell you about that. Caught Dayton in a really good spot to catch them, I thought, in a huge letdown. And then, of course, my second strongest opinion, Canisius gets the outright win. So isn't that just great? Fuck George Washington, of course. The school more so than the president, but, you know, whatever. I mean, he did enact the whiskey. What was it again? He was trying to crack down on private whiskey makers because he had his own whiskey distillery, so that was pretty bad. The whiskey rebellion scenario, whatever the hell was going on there. It's early, man. Still, I forget everything. We won on Utah in hockey. That was an easy win with the Mammoth. The Mammoth got it done. And then Brooklyn in the NBA, dude, they ran into a historic shooting night for the Celtics. The Celtics hit like 65% from three-point range, and they take an assload of threes. Like, it was their third best shooting game in, like, franchise history, or maybe an NBA. I don't even know. It might have been an NBA history. Like, that's what we were up against. Some historic performance. If you were to tell me before the game started that Brooklyn was going to score more than 110 in the game, I would have been like, yeah, they're obviously going to cover if they score that many points. But no, the Celtics scored almost 150 in the game because they literally could not miss a shot. Absolutely insane. Although at least I'm a Celtics fan. But let's just move on to today, man. No, the Spurs are not going all the way. They do not have the experience factor, and I do not think they're going to be able to beat Oklahoma City in a 7-game series either. Dirty Sock, what's up? Yes, I'm an oaf and a Toad. What's up, everybody? Yeah, the Whiskey Rebellion, that thing. All right. NHL is where we're starting here. I got one play here, like I said. The first game up is at noon, actually 12:30, on ABC. Pittsburgh at New York. The Sidney Crosby-less still, I believe, Penguins at the Rangers. Penguins did get a win in their first game out of the break. Or I think that was their first game, right? Yeah, they beat New Jersey. Easy win there. Now they got to go to the Rangers, but maybe because it's a TV game at Madison Square, maybe they'll show up. But they did just beat the Rangers on January 31st by 1 in Pittsburgh, so maybe the Rangers will show up for that reason. Pittsburgh does have Vegas on deck, which is another TV game, maybe a bigger game than this one is. But the Rangers, They lost again at home. I believe it was an overtime game, against Philadelphia. So this Rangers team, they are just an unbelievable nightmare at home, dude. And by the way, Shesterkin actually returned in that game, so we might get him again in tonight's game, and that is an improvement. He is their better goalie, and maybe he was rusty coming into that game, so maybe you will get a better performance from the Rangers here. I don't really disagree with the Rangers side in this game. It's just that there's no way that I can take the Rangers at home. They're 6-15-5, at home, man. It is bad. They're the worst home team that I've ever seen. It's unbelievable how bad they are at home. And the money is actually coming in on Pittsburgh, up from -110 to -119. 71% of the tickets, 84% of cash on them. So the money's coming in on Pittsburgh. I'll slightly lean to the Rangers there, but there's no way that I want that. My Boston Bruins are at the Philadelphia Flyers here. Bruins got a win coming out of the break. They beat the Columbus Blue Jackets, whatever. Now they got to go to Philadelphia. It is a TV game. Philadelphia has had an okay season, but they've kind of trailed off a little bit. I do think the Bruins are overrated as far as their record is concerned. For Philadelphia, they are playing a third game in 4 days, though, all in different cities, coming off an overtime game against the Rangers. So they're the less rested team here, with the Bruins having only played one game out of the break. The money is coming in on Philadelphia, though, after they dropped from -130 to -115. Now, I think the public might look at this and think it looks pretty easy to take the Bruins because they have a really good record. Oh, my God, the team with the better record is an underdog. The odds makers are telling you, though, that the Bruins are not really that good. 73% of the tickets are on Boston, 50% of the cash on Philadelphia, though. The market read is saying Philadelphia. I don't have a strong reason to really disagree with it, but I don't have a strong opinion on it at all. Next game up is my second strongest opinion in hockey, and this one almost made the cut for me. This is basically you're never as good as you look in your best game versus you're never as bad as you look in your worst game going on here. This is Edmonton at San Jose. Edmonton just beat the Kings 8-1 on the road. Come on, man. It was on the back end of a back-to-back, too. You beat anybody 8-1. I think you're going to be feeling pretty high on yourselves after that. And now they're playing a third game in 4 days, all in different cities, although the first two are Anaheim and LA, so not far between the two. But still, this is a difficult setup for Edmonton, man. They might just be riding that high off of that ridiculous blowout win. Whenever you see a team win by that, I don't think you want to be on that team in the next game. And on the other side of things, we have a San Jose team that played once out of the break, and they did not have that break disrupt their losing momentum. It continued. The slump continued, and they lost again in a really bad performance at home against Calgary, who is ass, and one of the few teams that's probably actually worse than San Jose. Because San Jose, I don't think as good as their record looks, but that was a horrible game for them, losing 4-1, and they're staying at home. They might have already been looking ahead to Edmonton, who knows. But they're going to get up for a game at home against the Oilers, man. I would play San Jose in this one if I was going to play it. Edmonton is down from -160 to -155. 85% of the tickets on Edmonton, 74% of the cash, so they're a public team with less of the money on them. This would be one of those scenarios where I'd probably split the bet between the puck line and the money line for San Jose, like make your own +1 puck line and then push the bet if they lose by exactly one. But I think you'll get a good effort out of San Jose in that one. If you want to be really ballsy, you could just play San Jose on the money line. I'm not really going to disagree with you if you do that. New Jersey at St. Louis. This is a hard one for me to figure out. New Jersey has lost both games coming out of the break, and they're playing a third game in 4 days now, all in different cities, but they lost both games by a combined 6-1 score. But they do have Florida on deck in a TV game, so there is the potential of a look ahead here. And the travel spot, the lack of rest spot is not exactly great for New Jersey here. St. Louis coming into this one, they've only played once out of the break, and they won against Seattle 5-1. Looked pretty impressive in doing so. Maybe they're going to be looking ahead as well because they got Minnesota on deck. Maybe they don't care about New Jersey that much. The money is coming in New Jersey for what it's worth. They are the better team. They're the favorite on the road. Down from -110 to -108. 73% of the tickets, 85% of the cash on them. Really, really difficult read in this game for me, man. I don't really have a strong reason to not agree with the Devils in that one, but I don't love the game at all. The next game up is my play, and you know where we're going with this because I feel like I play on this team all the time. It's just like they're constantly undervalued or something. We're playing the Columbus Blue Jackets again, the BJs, at minus 130 on the money line here. So, yes, they are a favorite, but that's going to catch people's eye, right? Like, why would Columbus be a favorite against the Islanders? And the Islanders have been good. They have this really good record. Well, the reason for that is the Columbus is just not that bad, and the Islanders are probably not as good as their record looks. Columbus has actually been pretty solid at home, 15-8-4 at home, although I know we're going up against an Islander team that is good on the road as well, 17-11-3 on the road, but this is all about the spot, too, so there's not really a huge home-road dichotomy here between the two teams, with both teams being in decent splits here. But look at what the Islanders have come off of, man. They came out of the break and they played a huge overtime game against Montreal, a team that's having a really good season. And they were a road underdog in that game, and they pulled off the upset in overtime. Now they have this Columbus game where I really don't know how much attention they're going to pay to Columbus. When on deck, they got Florida, the back-to-back returning champs, coming into their place on ESPN. So, yeah, it's kind of a weird spot for them to have to go out to Ohio for this game coming from Montreal. And then they got a huge game back home in New York against Florida on deck on ESPN. So, yeah, I believe this is a sandwich spot. Columbus had that loss out of the break at Boston. I think the break disrupted their losing momentum. And now they have a game out of the way. I think they're going to show up for this game. This is their first home game since prior to the break. So... And they do better at home. Coming off a loss, I like it. We'll be on Columbus here. The market is strongly agreeing with this one, it looks like, with 50-50 on the tickets, but 96% of the cash on Columbus. They are up from minus 125 to minus 135. Yeah, try to find that money line at like below 140, I would say, and get in on that one. Charles, what's up? Thanks for hanging out, everybody. All right, Chicago at Colorado. This is obviously going to be the biggest line in on the hockey board today. Is Chicago's bad, Colorado is good. Colorado's going to be a huge favorite. Chicago lost to their rival Nashville coming out of the break. Now they're going to go to elevation to play Colorado. Don't know how up they're going to be for this game. Colorado took a bad loss, even though it was to a decent Minnesota team, but that was on a back-to-back, actually, too. They played 2 games out of the break. They beat Utah, and then on the quick turnaround, back-to-back, coming back home, they lost to Minnesota. So they are playing a third game in 4 days, but they are staying at home now off a pretty ugly loss. You might get a good effort out of Colorado here in this one. I don't want to play this game at all. I mean, they're a huge favorite, down from minus 365 to minus 328. 93% of the tickets, 98% of the cash on Colorado. I don't even know how to read that market, to be honest. Like, there'll be a public side. If you want Colorado in any capacity, I would say maybe go over their team total and just get them to score a bunch of goals here. And maybe that will be the turnaround that they'll have there. I don't love the game at all. Yes, well, yeah, everybody, if you're a private pooper, then yes, doing it at home is a lot better, yes. Ottawa at Toronto, and these two teams not having excellent seasons here. They're rivals in the province of Ontario. Ottawa coming off a tough loss to Detroit in overtime. Detroit, a good team this season, man. So that was a big game, and they do have a big game on deck against Edmonton, but I don't really see them overlooking a game against Toronto because these two teams really don't like each other. Toronto's coming off a real ugly loss against Florida, losing 5-1, but they are returning home from Florida. They had to play Tampa Bay and Florida back-to-back on Wednesday, Thursday. Now they're coming home playing a third game in 4 days, all in different cities, and traveling back up to Canada from Florida. So the travel spot does look kind of brutal for Toronto here. The money is coming in on Ottawa. They're up from minus 110 to minus 121, 62% of the cash on them, 67% of the tickets on Toronto. So there is a pretty big pros versus Joes split showing up in the market here, at least for now, with the money coming in on Ottawa. I don't really have a strong disagreement with that. The market is saying Ottawa, but it's not a game that I'm really interested in at all. Washington at Montreal. Washington won last night, I believe, in a nice win over Vegas. Now they're on a back-to-back. They're having to travel to Montreal for a single game, which is kind of an odd spot. Maybe they'll be in a letdown off of the win over Vegas, although I don't think they're going to overlook Montreal because Montreal's had a good season. Montreal's coming off a big game as well where they lost in overtime against the Islanders, but they had yesterday off and they're staying at home, so I do think the spot is a little bit better for Montreal here. The money is agreeing with Montreal. 59% of tickets, 92% of the cash on them. They're up from minus 155 to minus 165. I don't really disagree. It would be like a make-your-own -1 puck line situation if I was going to play that one. Buffalo at Tampa Bay. You'll notice that Tampa Bay is a massive favorite in this game, so the odds makers are still telling you Buffalo is not really what they look like as far as their record. They've won both games coming out of the break against New Jersey and Florida, both on the road, and now they're playing a third road game in 4 days and a back-to-back. I don't exactly love the spot for Buffalo. I mean, generally, yes, you should get an effort from them against a good team like Tampa, but the fatigue problem here might be real. Tampa's coming off a tough game, too, though. They were on a back-to-back after they beat Toronto. They had to go to Carolina. They played a good game against a very good Carolina team, and they lost 5-4. So they're coming off a very difficult game, too, but they are back at home. They do have a day off, although they are playing a third game in 4 days. They used Johansson in their last game in net, so it will be their better goalie back here with Vasilevsky. So Tampa does have that advantage of they're using their better goalie here. The money looks like it is on Tampa after they drop from minus 240 to minus 225. 76% of the tickets, 88% of the cash on Tampa. I think the public might want to take a shot with Buffalo here because they've looked good coming out of the break and their record looks really good. And it looks very enticing, I think, to take them as an underdog. I probably wouldn't. I would probably lean towards Tampa here. Both teams are in pretty ugly spots, though, so I would not really disagree with an over in this one either, even though I know Tampa does have their better goalie in net here. But the money looks like it is indicating on the over, and it is a high total at 6.5, so just, food for thought there. Detroit at Carolina, one of the other pretty good games of the night here. In the night slate here, of course, because we do have a few afternoon games today. The afternoon games are Pittsburgh versus the Rangers, Boston, Philadelphia, and Edmonton, San Jose. And then there's a weird 5 p.m. game is the Devils in St. Louis. And then we get into the evening stuff. Detroit coming off that win against Ottawa. It was a close call, though. They almost lost to kind of an inferior Ottawa team. Now they got to step up and play Carolina. Carolina's coming off that monster game where they beat Tampa Bay. That was a huge win for Carolina, so I probably lean to Detroit in this one. I think you might see Carolina in maybe a slight letdown, whereas Detroit coming off kind of a questionable performance, let's say, even though they did get the win. Carolina down from minus 210 to minus 185, looking like a very public side, 92% of the tickets and cash on them. I would go Detroit, probably split the bet, puck line, money line on that one, and then if they lose by 1, you'll push the bet, do something like that. Pros versus Joes versus Jors. I don't remember what show that was. NHL Network has Calgary at the LA Kings. This is the only televised night game. I don't know why this would be the one. Horrible game. Calgary is coming off that win over San Jose. Don't know how they did that, but this is the opposite end of the other situation I just talked about, where Calgary won by quite a bit. They won 4-1 against San Jose, and they're going to be playing the team that lost 8-1 against Edmonton, which is the LA Kings here. So I think you got to look towards the Kings to bounce back here. Calgary pulled off kind of an absurd win against a team that's better than they are. Calgary's just not good. LA, I mean, anytime you get a team that loses 8-1, especially at home, even though I know they're not a good home team, but they're staying at home. I know it's the third game in 4 days, but they had yesterday off to try to rest a little bit. That was a horrible game for them. So I think the Kings will bounce back. I know they do host Colorado next, but they're hosting a TV game here. Yeah, I think you'll get an effort from a team anytime they have such an ugly performance. So I like the Kings here. They're all the way down from minus 178 to minus 145. There might have been a goaltender change or something. I don't know why that line would have moved like that. 69% of the tickets and 92% of the cash on the Kings. I agree with the Kings in that game. It would be probably a money line play for that one. Nashville is at Dallas. Nashville just won against Chicago. As I told you, those two teams really don't like each other, so that's a nice win for them. But they're not going to overlook Dallas either. But having to go to Dallas, maybe not the easiest thing to do. Dallas, both teams have only played once out of the break. Dallas got an easy win over Seattle. They are staying at home. The spot's not terrible for Dallas here. Dallas is a very public side, though. 94% of the tickets and cash, down from minus 160 to minus 155. These percentages are all probably not totally accurate right now, of course, because NHL also doesn't have high volume, but that's a game that's a total stay away for me, and I actually might even lean to Dallas slightly in that one. But the money looks like it's probably disagreeing. I wouldn't want to play that public of a side, but it's not a horrible spot for Dallas, so I just don't really see what the issue really is there. Other than the fact that maybe they're just considered to be overvalued right now. But they have Vancouver next, which is not a big deal at all. So, I think Dallas probably gets the win there. Vancouver at Seattle. This is a pretty ugly game. Vancouver's bad. Seattle's not as good as their record looks. Vancouver's had a couple of days off. They took Winnipeg into overtime. Maybe they will show up because they haven't won in a while. Seattle is off an ugly performance as well. They lost 5-1. But they were on a back-to-back when they did that. They'd lost to Dallas the game before that. They had back-to-back games in different cities. Not easy. Now it is a third game in 4 days, all in different cities, and they do have Carolina on deck. So the spot is not exactly easy for Seattle. They're down from minus 178 to minus 156. 82% of the tickets, 90% of the cash on them. I don't want to deal with the game at all, but I actually don't really love the spot for Seattle. I mean, I might have a slight lean towards Vancouver in that one. Seattle's just really not as good as their record looks, and it's kind of a tough spot, but nothing I really want to do with that. Let's go to NBA, and then I'll get out of here. Quick, show here. When we don't have to deal with college basketball, it's a lot quicker. 5 NBA games here. There's 2 afternoon games. One is at 1 p.m. Portland at Charlotte. It's a somewhat interesting game, I guess. Portland did just beat Chicago and beat me. My NBA has been bad recently, man. I apologize. It's not going well. I think I did get 2 wins in the NBA on one night not that long ago. Portland did beat Chicago. Unfortunately, they did cover. Now they're coming to Charlotte. Charlotte is coming off beating Indiana, but they are returning home from a road trip. It was a kind of quick road trip, but it was almost a week long. They've been away since Sunday, and I talk about this. When a team returns home from a road trip, a lot of times they can get a little bit distracted, maybe not have full focus in that game. So I think I would probably lean towards Portland, but it's not a game that really has any I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion on this at all. The Hornets are a 7.5-point favorite. 67% of tickets, 76% of the cash on them, but the line has dropped a little bit on them. I think I would lean slightly to taking the Blazers, though. Amazon Prime has the better of the afternoon games, which is Houston at Miami. Houston's on a nice little roll here. They are definitely a good team. They've won 3 in a row, but against 3 teams that are all worse than Miami is. And now they're playing a third game in 4 days, all in different cities, which is not going to be that easy for them. And Miami, while they're returning home from a road trip, it was a quick 2-game road trip, and they lost both games. Bad loss to Milwaukee, and then lost to the Philadelphia 76ers as well. So even though they're in a return home spot, I don't really see them overlooking Houston on Amazon Prime. It was a quick trip that was only Tuesday, Thursday. 2 losses in a row. You've got to expect Miami will show up for this game. I think they're at pretty much full strength. I think they do have Hero back. He's played the last couple games. So I would lean to Miami in this one. The market looks like it is all over Miami, with Houston, 51% of the tickets on them as a minus 2.5 favorite. 92% of the cash, though, on Miami. I do agree with it, but it's not a strong opinion for me on that one. But the market read looks pretty strong on Miami for what that's worth. It does look way too easy to lay the very short number with Houston there, which I think might be what the public is going to do. Lean to Miami for me. The next game up is my final play of the day, and it's an ugly one, and we're going back to it again, and I know this team has a lot of injuries. Their big man, Sarr, is out. I think one of their other guys is injured right now, too. Trae Young, I think, isn't playing. We're going to do it anyway. Washington, plus 13.5. It's a bad spot for We're fading Toronto here, and I know Toronto is better on the road than they are at home. They're like 18-11 on the road, but you're asking them to cover a huge number as a road favorite here, man. And look at the spot that they're in. They do have 2 days off, but on Tuesday and Wednesday, they played Oklahoma City, and that game was like tied with 4 minutes left, and they lost by 9. Huge performance from them against OKC, although it was without SGA, but still huge game. And then they followed that up with a huge performance against San Antonio, where they only lost by 3, and they took the Spurs basically right to the limit. So they played pretty much the top 2 teams in the West, and now they're coming off of those huge effort games. They have to travel to Washington for some reason, and then they come back home and they play the Knicks, and then they go out and play Minnesota after that. So those games are much bigger than this game against Washington. I think it's a sandwich spot. Washington has 11 of their 16 wins at home, by the way. So they are way better at home, and you're not asking them to win the game at least. You're asking them to just cover. And they're coming off some embarrassing losses, man, coming out of the break. After they did beat Indiana, which does show you they were putting in some effort. They've lost 3 in a row now to Charlotte and then Atlanta. They were not able to zigzag against Atlanta, but I think you will get an effort from them here. I know they're returning home from a road trip, but it was only a single city road trip to Atlanta, a quick trip back home. I think they're going to show up for this, man, and try to break this losing momentum. I don't think that they're in tank mode yet. Raptors are a public side, 70% of the tickets, although 73% of the cash for now. It opened 14. We see pretty much 13 and a halves out there. It's not much of a difference. It's not football, so 14, not really a key number at all. But, I mean, getting 14 is better than 13 and a half if it's out there, but I wouldn't pay extra for it. All right. Lakers at Golden State here, but yes, that is my one NBA play. I know it's horrendous. It's really, really ugly. Lakers at Golden State. This is on ABC at 8:30 p.m., so this is the primetime TV game. Lakers have lost 3 games in a row. You got to think you're going to get a better effort out of them here. Not good for them. They did beat Golden State not that long ago, February 7th, but I don't think it's going to be like a revenge spot or anything. Golden State is still without Steph Curry. So keep that in mind. Golden State did just go to New Orleans and Memphis, and now they're returning home from that. It was only a 2-game road trip, Tuesday, Wednesday, but it is still a road trip return. So sometimes those road trip returns are tricky, but I don't think they're going to overlook the Lakers in a TV game, man. I don't think beating Memphis in a blowout was really a big deal. Memphis, not a good team. So what do we do with this game? I don't know, man. The market is saying the Warriors. Lakers are up to a 4.5-point favorite. 69% of tickets on them, 78% of the cash on the Warriors. I don't know if I fully agree. I don't know. I think I kind of lean Lakers in this one, but the Lakers, I mean, their one real drawback is they're actually a really bad defensive team. Laying points on the road with a team that is not a good defensive team is not exactly something I enjoy doing, so it's a stay away from me. But, you know, it's a tricky game. Pelicans at the Jazz. This one I'd be looking at maybe a zigzag spot here because this is a repeat of the same game that they played 2 days ago. And New Orleans won the game by double digits in Utah. So there might be a little bit of a zigzag here where Utah will be the team to make the adjustments here. But I dug into that box score, and it wasn't really that misleading, really. So I didn't see that much of an opportunity for the zigzag here. New Orleans does play the LA teams next, Clippers, Lakers. So maybe they overlook Utah after they did beat them easily once here. Utah hasn't won for 4 games now, so maybe you get a little bit of better effort out of them. But the worry is, you know, Utah keeps benching their best players, so that is the concern with Utah is how much of an effort will you get. Pelicans are a 6.5-point road favorite, though. I mean, do the Pelicans really deserve to be a 6.5-point road favorite against anybody? I'm not so sure. 58% of the tickets on them, 77% of the cash on the Jazz. The public being on the Pelicans is just a hilarious idea. It just makes absolutely no sense. I don't even know that they would be because their record is just so bad. Although their record is actually like it's almost the same as Utah's now, though. Utah is better at home than on the road, though. They're not horrible at home. The Pelicans haven't been very good on the road, so I don't know. I would slightly lean to the Jazz in the zigzag, but not something I love at all, and that is going to do it, man. So once again, actually, let's look at the market read real quick on all my college plays here before we get out of here. So for college, we have Buffalo minus the points, Bellarmine plus the points, Bryant plus the points. So you might be able to get a better number on that. We'll have to see. Arizona minus the points, and Virginia Tech plus the points. Looking at what the market read looks like on those, Buffalo is up to a 6-point favorite now, so it looks like there is some money coming back in on the Buffalo side. Probably would still lay the 6. Yep, Bellarmine looks like an anti-public home dog. Austin P with 92% of the tickets and 86% of the cash, so that market read is looking all right for me now. Bryant is looking like they're getting the money. You can get 4 on Bryant now, so yeah, we'll put it into the system at that. I told you guys in my earlier show to wait on that one because I thought that the number, based on Ken Bum's numbers, the number was actually a little bit short, but now we're getting a great number, I think, and a pretty good number and a great spot with Bryant. You can get 4, maybe even 4.5 on that, and it looks like the money is finally coming in on Bryant. 82% of tickets, 94% of the cash on them. I think the initial move, I think, was a fake out because the professional bettors hate NJIT, man. So I think the professional bettors came in and slammed NJIT knowing the number was going to go up just so their actual bets could come back in on Bryant. I think it's a great spot for Bryant. So we're looking at Bryant in that one still. And then my other ones were Arizona. The money looks like it's coming back on Kansas in that one. I don't like that, but I don't agree with that at all. It's Arizona for me in that one. Even at minus 10, I think I still go Arizona there. I love that one, actually. I love the spot, so I don't know what's going on with the market there now. And the money is still all over Virginia Tech, indicating on Virginia Tech. So the market reads are looking pretty good for me in these games today. So those are my basketball plays. And then we got Columbus Blue Jackets in hockey, money line, and Washington Wizards plus the points in the NBA. And not confident that's going to, I'm trying to turn my bad NBA around with the Wizards, man. That's what we do on this show. Hopefully it works. That's going to do it for me. Learn to Toad on Twitter. You can subscribe to me there if you want to help me out. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Subscribe to the channel here. Of course, give me good comments here. On audio, review, listen over on Spotify and Apple, Toadstool Sports. It all helps me out. Covered in Uke, my Uke channel on YouTube. Subscribe there as well. Comment over there. Patreon.com/LearnToToad. You get some bonus content there. And Learn to Toad. Losercast. Go check out the Losercast every Tuesday night, the comedy podcast that I do with Leighton and Tyler, if he ever shows up again, and Broseph and Ennis. Is that Enos? Penis? Dennis? Whatever his name is, that guy. Eldon, I think, is actually his name. And Adam Nutter in spirit, kind of, but he's never shown up. That's going to do it. Let's have a good day, man. Let's get some wins today. March Madness is quickly approaching. Peace for now, guys.